Well, hello everybody. Please do not refresh your browsers. Do not clear your caches. Please don't complain too much in the chat. But do complain if you can't hear me, because it means I pressed the wrong button. There is no Nick Bat today. I may be bald, but that's about all we have in common. He is a synthetic genius. Perhaps not synthetic is the right word. An iconic man, and I am merely a humble semi-replacement here. So thank you very much. Unfortunately, Nick's mum has been ill, so he is with his mum, and so huge amounts of love going out to Nick and his wife and his family, and especially his mum, because obviously it means that he can't be streaming here. And it's obviously difficult. So hopefully he may be watching this. He's he may just be sitting there going, oh, I don't know, maybe should I watch this? I know the Wi-Fi is good there, but that's about it. So yeah, big love in the chat, please, to Nick. And we're going to do our best to fill his impressive boots and do a show for you today. Just try and be nice, cut us some slack. Anyway, this is Sonictalk, and it's some crazy episode actually. I switched off the holding page. Hang on a second. It is episode number 738, which means it's been going for about 16 and a half years. I think it was 2006 in June. I went back and I checked. An amazing amount of episodes, which is just incredible. I don't know if this is the first time it's been presented by someone else, but either way, it's a huge honor. So thank you, Nick. And just an incredible, just incredible to be able to sit here as really the new boy on Sonicstate for most people, and actually be able to try and run this thing, which is absolutely brilliant. So thank you for Nick, and big love to you and your family. This is Sonicstate. We do stuff about keyboards and drum machines and electronic music production, and pretty much all the cool and uncool stuff about making music with electronics or listening to it. And you're very welcome to join in the chat if you're here live, or if you're listening on or watching on replay. Thank you very, very much for the support. There are a couple of people that support, or a couple of companies that support us with adverts, which we'll play a bit later on. And you can always check us out. There is a Patreon page that you can join us. If you just search Sonictalk, or Sonicstate rather, you'll be able to find all of that stuff. One of the reasons that we've been able to jump in and do this is, unfortunately, I don't have access to Sonic's magic video buttons, so I can't push any of the chat to live, and I also can't run some of the, here's a link to the Patreon kind of stuff. But you know where it is. You can always rewind and check last week's or the week before last episode. Cool. Okay, well, without further ado, we have a couple of amazing guests with us today, both of whom have kind of dropped everything and jumped in at the last moment to help us out. First of all, we have the lovely Robin Vincent from Molten Modular. How are you, sir? Oh, and I've got you muted. There you go. Go for it.
Oh. I'm not so bad, sir. Thank you. It's great to be here again. I'm sure Nick is sitting around with his muscle memory going, I must press the button.
What's it doing?
Must trigger something.
What am I doing?
So that must be exciting for him.
Yes, it's certainly quite exciting for me. What have you been up to? I think your new module was perhaps mentioned. There was no Sonic stream last week, so we're kind of a week behind on news. So I know you launched your own module.
I did. See, if I had thought about this sooner, I would have had it to hand. Right, funnily enough, I've got lots of these knocking around. This is a prototype, in fact. But yes, I did release a module just the other week called the Molten Motion Meter, and it meters motion. It visualizes voltages and sees signals. See, I've got that down quite well now.
Wow, yes, indeed. Wow, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Does it do anything kind of... rather
useful?
Than viewing stuff, as in, interactive? I mean, looks brilliant, obviously, and it's good to see that stuff. Does it modulate anything or tweak anything?
It's essentially a 3-channel mixer of either CV or audio, so you can mix together 3 modulators or an envelope and an LFO, and then offset it with the third one. So all 3 of them will produce voltage, although it doesn't have any inbuilt movement itself. It takes movement in, and then you can attenuate that or offset it or combine it with other things and then kick it out the bottom.
Awesome.
You can see this one. You can see, I could do that thing there. There's a couple there in back behind me that are nice. The green means it's audio. The purple and orange is CV. So it's a useful super utility, I think. That's looks
that's
nice,
the cool factor stuff as well. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Nice. Well, congratulations on that, first of many, I hope.
Maybe. It's quite a process. going through. I mean, none of it is my work. I just went, oh, this would be a nice idea. And Bafako, God bless them, said, yeah, all right, we'll give that a go. And it's spent about 18 months going to and fro. And they do all the hard work. I just, I just smile and go, yeah, it would be great if it did this.
Wow, 18 months. Gosh, that does feel, I mean, I can imagine it takes a long time to do it, but that is, that's a chunk of time. So you probably, if you haven't started the next one yet, it's going to be a bit of a wait then.
Yeah. I've got a long list though. All sorts of things I think you can do.
A huge thank you to Wagyu for 10 Swiss francs. I can't have an on-screen announcement, but you're absolutely wonderful because you already do the moderating work. So thank you for that. You're already helping out all over. You don't actually have to pay for the privilege, but thank you very, very much indeed for that donation. All donations that come in via super chats and so forth will go into the kitty, probably for beer or something at Super Booth or the next big kind of show. So thank you for that. In the wings, waiting for us, is also the amazing Ty Unwin, who hasn't been on for a while, and it's absolutely brilliant to see you again. I know you rearranged some stuff to come on today, so thank you so much for supporting and helping out. How are you doing? Oh, and I've muted you as well. There you go. Try again.
I'm fine, thank you.
Good.
I have nothing to promote. I haven't finished anything or to sell or anything.
That's a neat
anyway,
angle.
Good to see you all. Bye. No.
Cheers. Thanks for coming on. No, it's good to have you. I don't think I've seen that mixing desk angle behind you before, or if I have, I've only spotted the keyboards. That is really cool on the left. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. It's lovely. It's where I live, breathe, eat, sleep. Although I was just saying earlier. So I finished the job that I've been spending most of this year doing is now finished, and so I actually have a life back now.
Oh, proper finished, delivered, signed off.
Yep, signed off, done, dusted.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah,
fantastic.
So I'm happy to see the back of that in so many ways.
And a break then now.
Yeah,
you did say you were going to have one.
Yeah. So Christmas is going to be Christmas.
Oh.
Amazing. So
brilliant.
Forward to that.
Brilliant. And we were just talking about 36-foot blow up Santas as well on Twitch just before we went live.
We were, yes. But I'm holding back. I've been forced to hold back. I go Christmas big time, but as I said, it's very internal. I don't kind of you would never guess as you.
No, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well,
yeah, it's wonderful.
We missed Black Friday again because chat is saying, can you turn yourself up just a little bit, Ty, with one of those remarkably sexy faders on your right?
Oh no, I'm not. I'm literally just. Oh, am I too quiet?
Too quiet.
Do you know what? I'll just talk louder. Maybe it's because I'm just using these, which is very lazy of me.
Oh, well, that's cool.
Sorry.
No,
is it okay? I apologise, but I have no way of turning myself up.
The chat are very unforgiving when it comes to level.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'll talk loudly and stop mumbling. And I'm renowned for mumbling, so I'll try not to.
We missed Black Friday because there was no show last week. So we'll probably bring that up as a thing towards the end of the show. So if you got any bargains, I'm presuming, Ty, you probably rebought a bunch of software that you'd already accidentally bought already, but at a discount.
Okay, the most embarrassing. I'm only going to say this once. The most embarrassing thing I did is that I did actually buy something, and when I bought it, I then went into my downloads page. And before now, it's I've bought them before. That's fine. But I honestly really embarrassed myself. I'd bought it twice before. I'd bought it once in 2016, once in 2019, and I just bought it for a third time.
Oh dear.
I blame the company, because there are some companies, the good companies, who basically, when you're about to do it and you're signing out, they'll turn around and go, "You're purchasing this again," and then I go, "Oh, I am an idiot." And
yes, indeed.
But this particular company, no, they took my money 3 times. So it's not my fault.
Of course not. Absolutely, of course not.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's talk about budget multi-effects units, if any of you have any insight into these. So these are topics that Nick is brilliant at coming up with topics, by the way. This is the first one that he was going to go with. And he has this proposed this multi-effects zoom pedal, which I'll just run up now. So I think that goes on for about 20 minutes, but that gives you an idea of. I mean, I guess they don't have to be particularly cheap. I do have that Zoom actually, and it was really kind of okay. Yeah, I mean, it does what you want. And I've been getting into guitar pedals more recently. I was going to say, I was meant to bring this out. I use this thing as an effect. So that would be my kind of top tip for an effects unit, which is the little Korg, what is it? An NTS1 comes in a bolt together kit. It was about £99, I think, but it has an external in, and it has reverb, delay, and modulation that you can apply to the external in. So even if you're not using it as a keyboard, if you run it off USB, I think it can be a little bit noisy. But if you've got kind of a battery pack or something, that would be my tip. I don't know, Robin, are you a big effects fan, outboard or pedal wise?
Well, I have been. I mean, similarly, I've used the NTS one as well, and you can get additional algorithms for it. You can buy some of them are free. You can stick in because it has that Korg digital Logue development SDK thing. I'm making perfect sense. You can upload new algorithms to it for more effects from other people like Sine Vibes and people like that. So it can be very, very versatile. So it's a good little box. But as far as multi-effects go, I think, I mean, many years ago, I had the Zoom, was it the 9001, the one that you strapped on your guitar strap?
Yes, I think it was. Yes.
Yeah, I had that, enjoyed it greatly in the early 90s. I even had the floorboard for it, which is a little extension. Which was great. And from there, I became, I think, a VIP person for Line 6. So I had Line 6 everything. I had a Variax going into a Line 6 amp, going through effects with a floorboard and all that kind of stuff. And I had so many choices that I could never decide what to have. You know, which guitar am I going to use, first of all, on this dial in the Variax, and then which effect, which amp, which cabinet, you know, and you end up, it was kind of like a hardware software conundrum of never working out what on earth you're supposed to sound like. And it took me quite a few years. I mean, this is kind of ties into my journey through software generally, is that it took me lots of years of really pushing with this stuff until I realized that if I just have a guitar and an amp, it just works so much better. So I've kind of come out of the other end where multi-effects aren't really my thing anymore. I'd much rather have an effect that does the thing that it says that it does.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I've got like the Pico DSP from Erica Synths in my modular over there, and it can do, I don't know, 24 effects or something, but it's just on reverb. I have it set on reverb, and that's what it does. And I send an aux through it and I send and return through it, and that's beautiful, and it does that beautifully. But I don't need all that other stuff that's in it. And I wonder sometimes whether, I don't know, I might be, maybe I'm missing out on something, maybe I'm missing the point of something, or maybe, I don't know, I've found myself in a position where I like a thing to do the thing that it does.
You're right, actually. Most of my things do end up on the same setting, and it just becomes a single effect pedal. A couple of people in the chat saying it's not USB noise, it's dither. You could be right. I mistakenly thought it was better when I used a battery, so maybe that was just some kind of weirdness. So they were talking about the noise that's coming out of these things.
If it feels better for you, then
exactly.
that's what it is.
A bit of dither on my reverb. You know, absolutely. But the H9 Eventide and stuff are being mentioned. Ty, you've got a rack full of pedals, I think, haven't you? I don't know.
Yeah, I understand the whole multi-effects, the difference between multi-effects and just single effects. And I always kind of see multi-effects as it's a more creative process rather than single effects. And I've kind of got both. In terms of multi-effects hardware, I've only kind of got the high-end stuff. So I've got the absolute ultimate, which is I've got a Eventide H9000, which is basically just like it's a kind of god figure. It's amazing. And I've got a TC6000 system, but they're mainly used. The TC6000 is mainly used for just kind of reverbs and fancy delays. The 9000 is very kind of multi effects. It's very creative. But then what I've also done is I've got a collection, as you say, of just pedals and tabletop units that just sit there. They're not plugged in permanently, and I'll, depending on the mood, I'll just unplug the undo the drawers and take them out one by one and literally just line them up on the floor and plug them in. And I kind of treat that as one multi effects unit then, even though they're literally just chained in, from one to the other. But I've got there's some weird and wonderful ones in there. And there's I've got quite a few of the Mooga Fugas, which are just gorgeous. And then I've got, you recognize this one?
Oh yes, the drifting memory station,
and that normally goes straight into one of those Dreadbox.
Nice,
which is a lovely combo. And then another couple that make a really lovely combo. This is why they're in the same drawer. The Chase Audio Blooper.
Oh, that's a new one on me. Wow.
It's a kind of loop pedal, but the main thing about it is it's for creating ambiances and very, very lo-fi. It's beautiful. That then goes into the Bastille Time.
Oh,
which is kind of
just so good.
And then that goes into that.
Wow!
So those three together, just chained,
just madness.
It just
in a good way.
No, but that's what it is. It is literally it is madness, because all of those are like little patterns, and then I've got another load of stuff, but they're my favorite sets of chains. That's why they're together. They're my favorite chains.
That's a beautiful drawer of stuff, man. That's just
I have a feeling that's not even the drawer. That's the stuff on the table.
But the thing is about the 9000 is the fact that the beautiful thing about the Eventide about 9000 is you have all of that kind of stuff just all in the box, all in one box, and you get there's like 4 essentially complete Eventides that you link in any way, shape, or form with any parameter going into any other parameter, and it's just I'm incredibly lucky, because the 9000 is one of those kind of dream things that kind of most people don't get, but it is essentially like a kind of an effects modular in a box. It's a beautiful thing, but at the same time, there's a lot to be said for shoving these things on the floor and having having real knobs, having
I think that's the thing, being able to. I have a memory station sitting behind me. It's just sitting there, and just that on its own. Sometimes, if you just go, boop, this kind of goes, and it's an amazing kind of stereo thing comes out the other end. So,
but it's a bit like with all of the Soma stuff. All you do is you literally just put everything into record all the time. And I've always said this, especially things like the Lyra 8, you just stick a Lyra 8 through that kind of chain, and you just press record and record everything. And if you mess around, you don't even have to do anything particularly other than just play, as in play around for an hour. I guarantee something of some worth will come out of it, even if that then becomes a sample that then, kind of gets used, stuck into a sampler. But doing the wacky, wonderful stuff is it's just fun. It's not work. It doesn't feel like work when you're doing all that.
We were talking, Robin and I, before you came on, about how you had to be creative, even if you weren't feeling creative sometimes, to hit deadlines. And it must be so much when you're doing the kind of film that needs noise, like a Lyra or something, just going through noise, and you're just literally recording everything, then sampling it or whatever. Just so much fun.
That was the thing. I did the Lyra 8 and a chain very similar to one of those was what's formed the basis of a TV series I did a couple of years ago, where they literally did I was given free rein to do whatever I wanted, and I knew for a fact the project was going to last a good 6 months. And so I basically said to them, okay, for the first month, I don't want any calls, any input, anything. And I just messed around and just to form this basis of a sound world. And it's great fun. But I also have to say, having the time to do that is a rarity, because normally it's like straight down. They just want notes. They just want. So, but yeah, it's great.
Gethsemane, I'm afraid I can't put chats up on screen with this sort of cobbled together system, but Gethsemane Music was just saying, has anyone compared the original Mooga Fugas to the software versions? Yeah, I just wondered, seeing as you had the original Moogas, whether you probably haven't had a chance.
I haven't had a chance. I'd
love to know.
But I want to. But I mean, the software ones sound great, but I don't. They're not. I don't. Again, it's coming back to the physicality. I think you just actually sitting there with those knobs in front of you and just, it's that thing of twiddling lots of things at the same time. That's where it's different. It's about obviously you can assign them to controllers, but there's something quite physical and
absolutely
about,
Absolutely.
But I mean, one thing I will just say in terms of multi-effects, like these Zoom pedals, because I think those Zoom pedals, I think they're great. I think the Zoom make great cheap effects that are really, really good. But I've said this before, one of my favorite old ones is, if you want to go back and listen, discover some of the really old multi-effects units from the mid to late 80s.
Got SPX 90 and that kind of stuff.
That's it. And things like do you remember things like the Digitech DSP 128 and all these kind of things? And they're basically, they're some of them are 12-bit, they're not even 16-bit. And they're noisy and they're grungy and they're, at the time you'd be sitting there going, oh, they're crap because they don't sound like an Eventide or they don't sound like a Lexicon. But as creative tools, I mean, one of my favorites is, do you remember the Boss SX700?
What was that?
It's basically, his Boss is kind of Roland, kind of cheap effects unit. But the main thing about it is it had a whole of 2-channel version of the RSS. Do you remember the RSS, the 3D audio thing that Roland pushed? Yeah. They stuck a stereo channel version of that, just 2 channels, into this cheap reverb delay chorus unit.
Gotcha.
But of course, combining what they didn't realize was, once you start sending the delays through the RSS, you suddenly got this stuff that was bouncing around all over the place in this, you can pick them up now for like 75 quid.
Yeah.
And they're, honestly, Boss SX700, they sound fantastic in a kind of not great kind of way, but they have a real quality that is beautiful.
Oh wow, Jim Glue's got one apparently, and Wagu's got the GX, which is a guitar version.
The guitar version, absolutely. But I've always said it's the one thing I'd never let go of, even if it's just for that RSS, because you can just feed stuff into it and have it as one singular placement of RSS, which I've done before. So you can actually suddenly, just with one thing, have it as an insert, and suddenly place it way over there. It's fantastic.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I've got an N-Sonic DP4 in the rack here.
Gorgeous.
Which is insanely noisy, but in a good way. It really is. It's got 4 effects that you can put in parallel series or individual. They're quite rare, I think. I mean, I've had it since probably new, to be honest, but sometimes I forget actually, because it's just like noise comes on, and I should really not care about that so much, but very lucky. Let's say thank you to Ozone and iZotope for sponsoring us very quickly, and then we'll jump into another topic. iZotope's Ozone 10 is the future of mastering. The new version includes the Master Assistant, which matches your master to any reference file. The advanced version includes a stabilizer module, adding mixed clarity with an intelligent and adaptive mastering EQ, and an impact module, which enhances the rhythm by controlling microdynamics. Don't forget, you can use the code SONIC10, that's SONIC10, at iZotope.com/SonicTalk to save an additional 10% off any one-off software purchase. That's SONIC10 at iZotope.com/SonicTalk. And thank you very much indeed for sponsoring for so long the Sonic Talk podcast. And my voice on there, if you ignore the pops, was actually processed by iZotope Ozone, but I didn't put the pop filter on it. I've just realised listening to it on headphones, it's like a lot of that all the way through. Anyway. What was I going to say? If you've just joined us late and you missed the beginning, no problem at all. But Nick, his mum is unwell, so he's unable to run the stream, and he also missed last week's stream. So big love out to him. Please be nice in the chat. We're doing our best to make up for his absence, and there's a huge hole with him not being here. But hopefully you can put up with us in the short term. if you want to ask questions from the team, put a QQ in there. But as I can't push up some of the comments onto the stream, we're reliant on Wagyu and others to kind of let me know what's going on. But we'll try and do some questions at the end. If you're interested, make the most of Ty and of Robin being on here. Ty especially is very, very rare on stream. It's rare to catch him in his unnatural environment outside of the studio, at least in his headspace outside of the studio. So this is good. This is another one of Nick's. The best thing about this is some of the things that Nick finds to talk about, which is really cool. This is Moog Dancers from the 70s. Of course it is. Of course it is. Actually, I think I might get a copyright strike for running the beginning, so I'm just going to load it up and run it from midway through, because it's got the Anglia TV ident on the front that kind of goes dum 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 da 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 da. Hopefully I won't get copyright struck for my
not for that rendition.
Exactly. Yeah, this is, well, I'm just going to put it on, see what you think, really. There's the what's it if I whiz it forward. Hopefully. Right, these are people dancing to the wonderful new sound of the synthesizer. I'll whiz it forward a bit.
The interaction with the cameras was just superb.
It's amazing, wasn't it?
And I think the main point was that this wouldn't happen today, and I mean that in the nicest possible way, because the budget wouldn't be there. This is, it's like this is a long piece of audio. This is like 40 minutes of sorry about that. Sorry, I just took your ears off. I'll just whiz up to the end, see, because there's probably a grand finale.
Going to end in carousel from Logan's Run, isn't it? And they all get destroyed.
So yeah, 40 minutes.
To be fair,
I
don't think the fact that the budget isn't there is the reason that wouldn't be repeated.
Oh, even.
I don't really think the budget is. I mean, I'm not being funny. The budget behind that wouldn't even pay for the food and drink on a current production. I think it's fantastic, but I mean, we can say that from a kind of memorabilia kind of, that just takes me back to my youth when that's what. There was just brown and orange everywhere, and it's great. It's absolutely brilliant. But I think it's hard to understand how brave and different that would have been back in the day.
Yeah, because
that kind of stuff now we're just used to those kind of sounds. But you look at the date of that. And those kind of sounds would have just been like, it would have blown my head when I was, kind of young. It would have just been beyond the comprehension of most people. And even forgetting the dance element, which is obviously very period, of its time. But forgetting that, just the music would have blown everyone's mind, combined with that kind of dancing that people just wouldn't have understood or got. Whoever actually did that is incredibly brave. And it would be fantastic if someone did something similar today, but it just wouldn't happen. You'd go to a music festival. I mean, I've been to see similar things at Huddersfield Contemporary Music Festival because I've got a friend that writes in that kind of genre, and there it's fine. But the thought of ever taking anything from there and going, okay, this is going to go on mainstream TV, never, not in a million years. It just wouldn't happen. So it's fantastic, and honestly, it took me back to when I was about, 6, 7. Fantastic.
It's very true about how blown away you would have been with those sounds, because they obviously sound kind of twee now, but it would have been like, how on earth? I've never heard anything like it. Heard anything like it. Robin, what do you think?
Well, it's a lack of contemporary dance. I think we've managed to turn contemporary dance into something which is kind of weird and cliched and we make fun out of it. Oh, I'm going to do this in interpretive dance or something like that, and we don't give it any time. And I think that's a shame. I mean, we have Strictly, which is awesome, but you get 1.5 minutes of dance, and that's all we can cope with, apparently. So, you know, it's a shame that we don't see things more long form that do encapsulate more electronic music and ideas and thoughts like that. You just don't see it. I just don't see where I would see it other than on a stage, but then it's more likely going to be ballet or something. I don't know. Where would you seek out that sort of thing? That's the thing.
Well, it is there. I mean, it is there. I mean, as I said, I've got a friend who, they're a couple, and they do exactly this kind of thing. It is essentially, it's contemporary dance mixed with, he's a composer and does very contemporary electronic music, and they go all around the world. And there are festivals for this kind of stuff, and it's mainly for contemporary I hate the phrase avant-garde, but it's for modern contemporary music, and electronica and electroacoustic music. And they go, you know, kind of they came back from Greece recently, and they go to America quite a lot, and Europe obviously, and this is what they do. And
Howard Jones was right all along, wasn't he? That's
absolutely with Jed.
You know, we need more of that.
Oh yes,
yeah.
Forgotten about Jed. Yeah. For anyone who isn't aware of Jed, Howard Jones. Well, for anyone who's not aware of Howard Jones, he was a synth artist in the 80s.
Howard's a friend, so don't.
He's a good friend. No. Amazing guy. Nick Kershaw and Howard Jones ruled the charts when I was at college, actually. But yeah, he was a mime artist in Chains and stuff, and did the performance art alongside Howard, and was probably very much responsible for promoting and giving them someone to talk about. So yes, wow. Yeah. I think what Nick was saying, it's like it's a shame we don't get to see this stuff. Not 70s people dancing to synthesizer music, but kind of it's not commercially viable to do anything like this anymore. You know, it's
very simple. You've hit the nail on the head. It's all about commerciality. Unfortunately, the world, especially the world of media now, everything is based around money. Everything, absolutely everything is money. And I think the problem is that's moved a lot away from back in the, I don't want to say the heyday, but the 60s and 70s, when creativity was not as more important. It was as important as the monetary side of things, and that now just doesn't exist. Creativity is just kind of out of the window. It's all about even the most creative projects, even great, wonderful TV. The reality is, unless it can make money and unless it's going to be a seller, will never see the light of day. You know, even the really creative stuff, it has to be seen to be able to make money. And if it's not, then it just won't happen. It's very sad. It is, but that's the world we live in general. I mean, let's think about this. Every aspect of every one of our lives is all based around money. It's
somber.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen a few things on Sky Arts, but to be fair, that always tends to be old footage of stuff like that, like we've just watched. You know, old concert. There's nothing. I don't think they're commissioning anything new of that ilk. But it can be a. There can be a few things.
And even then, you're absolutely right. But even that's on Sky Arts. Sky Arts is not a channel that is for the masses, really.
No,
it's a very much of a. You know, it isn't. Whereas this is ITV. You know. Yeah.
That would have been alongside, you know, some crazy Generation
One
Game.
One of the three channels we had, and whoever put that out knew that they were aiming at a third of the population. They were aiming at with that. I mean, which is incredible. Whereas even if something goes out on Sky Arts, the reality is, you know, it will get, you know, a few thousand people watching it, and they know that. You know,
you would have thought with Kate Bush and all of the warmth around running out that hill because of Stranger Things, you know, that is perhaps a launch pad into some more of this kind of stuff. You know, electronic music is dying, not dying, that's the wrong word, is desperate, I think, to connect with other art forms. We already connect it well, I think, with visuals. That's really something which has been coming up in performance. But then with with performance art, with movement, with spoken word. There's all sorts of areas that electronic music and things like the open mic nights could connect with better and more. I think there's opportunities out there. We just got to allow them to happen.
Yeah, I agree. I also think, there's avenues within YouTube that, you can watch our small kind of geeky or whatever stuff. It's just they don't have the budget. So I think, broadcast, if no one's broadcasting it, broadcast trend. But it does move TV to become even more of the lowest common denominator of entertainment processing, doesn't it, really?
Can it go any lower?
I'll give it a go. You do the music. I'll do the choreography.
Brilliant.
Oh, okie doke. All right. Well, let's have another look. We can do Black Friday deals. We can do hit and mix deep create.
That's great.
The hit and mix deep create or the Black Friday?
Yeah.
The hit and mix deep create. Okay. Well, this is something I don't quite understand. Let me see if I've got anything lined up. It always bodes well, doesn't it?
What a great launch. Yeah. Let's talk about something I don't really understand.
Here we go. The reason I don't quite understand this, and I've been looking at it, is it's a bit word salad on the website. I think I know what it does, but it's very, they're so busy saying how great it is that it's almost quite hard to work out what its core point is. Anyway, this is, we'll give this 1 minute 40, but we'll see how it goes.
Welcome to Deep Create, the cutting-edge audio playground for musicians, producers, and audio professionals, where anything goes. Plug in your microphone, guitar, MIDI, or MPE controller and hit record. Within Deep Create, you won't need to think about audio and MIDI. They become one, inspiring boundless creativity. Experiment with a huge choice of dynamic and creative audio effects. Incredibly, you can swap any sound for another, like a vocal line for a guitar riff. Use sounds.
Incredible. Yes. Well, Ty, you love this. You talk first, and I'll pull out the.
So I'll tell you where I'm at with this. So up until Nick sent out the notes for this yesterday, I'd never heard of this piece of software. Never heard of it.
Right.
And as we do, we then go and have a look at the website, and it's unusual for something to get past me, especially since it's been out a while, but it has got past me, and I go and have a look at it, and I look at the website, and I have to say it is one of the worst websites I've seen in a long time in explaining what this piece of software does. And then you can watch the videos, and the videos don't explain what it does. Or what they do is they try and explain what it does, but what they don't do is actually play you what it's doing. And for me, that's a red flag. Normally, this is such a red flag, because the moment, exactly like you just joked about, it's all amazing, and it does this, and this is brilliant, and all I'm going is just play me something of what it does. But the voiceovers just go along the entire video, and for no point from the beginning to the end does it actually say or show you what it's doing. Mm-hmm. And at this point, I can't even tell you how many red flags I've got waving in my head. And then there's one video, and I can't remember who it is. It's Ben, and I can't remember his surname, but I love his videos. Just click on videos for a second, Dom.
Yeah.
And go down.
Ben gets insane.
Ben Jordan. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I've watched some of Ben's videos before. I couldn't remember his surname. He's a really good guy who does some really creative stuff. And
I'll just pause that for a second.
This was for the first time, and all it is him just using it. That's all it is.
Oh, okay.
And he's using the Create version, because again, you look at the website and you have to really go in to know the difference between which versions. Do you go for Create? Do you go for Remix? Do you go for Audio? The way it's laid out is appalling. But I watched this about Create, and I just thought, oh my God, okay. This is basically a cross between the track stems being pulled in RX.
Yep.
It's a combination of that with Melodyne, and it's also combined with some of the. Do you remember Synaptic? They have all of their crazy stuff with pitch and all of that, and it's a combination of all of them. And so, because I've got all the separate programs, I looked at this going, well, I don't really need this because I've got all of the elements in different things. And I went and looked further into it, and what they're not really revealing to this is that when it comes to stripping stems out of stereo files, the quality on here is fantastic.
Ah,
it's really good.
Good.
This is what the difference is.
Okay.
And I love RX. I love iZotope, and RX does a great job of stripping the 4 channels out of a stereo file. But I think, and I haven't used it, I'm only saying what I've investigated and learned. It seems that this does it better. That combined with the fact that the Create program means that you can take the timbre of a different instrument and apply it to a vocal, or apply a vocal line to a different instrument, and quantize the pitch and stretch the pitch. And basically it is a straight combination of kind of Melodyne, but in a more creative version of Melodyne, and a more synthesized version of Melodyne, combined with the stem stripping and all that kind of thing in a package, which at the moment is, I think if you buy all 3, and I bought all 3 it's 165 quid.
Yeah, that's right. It's on offer.
And I'm not saying it's not a bargain. There's no such thing as a bargain. But for what you're actually getting, compared to Melodyne, compared to RX Pro, compared to all of those, it's a really good price. And the main reason I bought it was for the Create program, because you can the things you can do with it in terms of turning audio into a whole load of things it was never meant to be is immense.
That makes
you get none
sense.
of that. You get none of that.
Right. They should just clip you from there, and everything's fine. I mean, that's all we need. I mean, it's brilliant. Sorry, Ty, go ahead.
Well, the only thing is, I get frustrated because, I mean, this is obviously, it's not a big company, but you kind of think, because it's obviously, it's a small company, they really need to just kind of get to the point of what it's doing, because the market is so full of product that does all of this, and we're so bored with the hype. We're so bored watching videos just saying this is the most amazing thing you will ever. You hear it every day. All that we really want to hear is, show me what it's doing.
Exactly.
That's
Demo.
it. Show me what you're doing. Show me whether I think that what you're doing to that audio is worth it or not. And I absolutely swear to you, if it wasn't for the video by Ben, I'd have absolutely just walked past this and come on here and gone, I don't know what it does, but it sounds a bit, the hype's crap. Whereas, having seen that, it made me first of all just go and buy it.
That makes a lot more sense. I'm glad it ended on a positive note, because there's clearly, something going on here, which is a good thing. The basic setup is RipX is like the platform, and within RipX you've got Deep Remix, Deep Create, and Deep Audio, and they all do slightly different things, which Ty's kind of covered off, where one removes stems.
Deep Audio basically combines the remix, which is the stem stripper, Create, which is the really creative stuff with mangling audio, and Deep Audio does all of those two plus a whole load of other stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. It is 30% off today and for a few more days, I think. And there are deals on the complete pack, and also the 30% off applies to the deal on the pack price. So I think certainly for UK pounds, it is about £160 for the, and sounds like it's worth investigating. I do that. But thanks to Ty, though, to be honest.
The other thing is, just to say again, something that they hide is that if you do a cross grade from Melodyne or from RX, in or out of the sale, I think you get 25% off anyway if you do a cross grade from RX or Melodyne. So even if you miss this offer, you'll be able to get 25% off if you move over from
just because you already own an RX. Wow.
They see the similarities, but the fact that it's all together in one box is I'm really looking forward to getting into it. So,
I don't think we can compete with that, Robin, you and me, but yeah, go for it.
Yeah, no, I could throw in a little bit here because I actually reviewed this for Sound on Sound.
Oh, fantastic.
A couple of years ago when it was called Infinity. So it's obviously, it seems to have evolved a little bit since last time I looked at it. So, you know, take 2 years worth of caveats with my view on it. I sort of spent a lot of time with Sam at Sound on Sound trying to work out what the heck this is. You know, what is it doing and why is it and why should we care? And that seemed to be a long conversation we had with the developer over just trying to wrestle it, because we knew there's something in here that's extraordinary. And we're trying to wrestle it into some kind of musical context that we could talk about sensibly, because it, you know, a couple of us that had a go at reviewing it, we're just scratching our heads going, I don't even know how to express myself through this piece of software. But over time, with a little bit of wrangling, and we sort of pushed him into adding things like the piano roll and other little transport controls, for instance, little things like that, just to make it somehow more familiar to anyone who'd ever used any other piece of audio software. And it started to sort of come together. But what's going on? I mean, I'm trying to remember now because it's been a couple of years. But essentially what I did, I fed it Sulk from Radiohead, and I was able to change the guitar line. And that to me just blew my mind. And it was strange and weird, but it sounded completely as if it was supposed to be there. And, you know, and we were just sort of sitting there going, well, this is extraordinary. I just wish it made some kind of sense and it was easy to get into without having to bash your head against the computer going, come on, I know there's something in here. I've just got to tease it out somehow. But there's extraordinary stuff going on. It's not pulling out the audio as such. It's re-synthesizing it through, what did I call it? Resynthesized representations of musical data through sinusoidal spectral analysis and resynthesis.
Boom.
There you go. So it's not pulling out the audio, it's analyzing it and then recreating it with sine waves, essentially.
Wow.
Which has its advantages, and then you can then move it about and you can replace a guitar with a flute, or a voice with a piano, that kind of thing. And within its context, it's very, very convincing. Once you start taking it out of its context, it loses its integrity, I found, quite quickly. So I couldn't isolate something and use that somewhere else, although that's a process you can do, because you know all of those artifacts that you get around when you're extracting stuff from things, when you're pulling vocals out of a track or something like that, you have all that artifacts that's going on. That was still present, and so it's difficult to use it by itself, but within the context of its own track it was quite extraordinary. But it then just threw up the question of, why would I do this? Am I remixing somebody else's track? If it was my own track, then surely I'd go back to the multi-track to do whatever it is that I'm trying to do would be better done that way. Why would I do it this way? But then it depends on your use case. You know, what is it that you need to do, that you have a mixed audio file that you need to edit and change the harmonic material within, you know, and that's, I don't know, that's not, I don't have an occasion when I need to do that, but I'm sure other people will. And that's why it continues to be interesting, you know.
Well, the thing is, you can do most of that side of things in a combination of Melodyne or RX. I think what I like about this is that you're basically being encouraged to do all the things that you just spoke about, but then treat it in a creative way. Yes. So in Create, by calling it Create, when you actually you basically just input your audio, whether it's dragging a file or just recording a file, and then you literally just have a whole list of, it's just marked up as vibrato, and you determine how much vibrato you want on the note and slide the slider along, and you turn and go, okay, quantizing pitch, and you just have a little slider, quantize pitch, and it's almost like a word processor. It's almost like you've got all these options, and you literally just click on a few notes, and you just move the slider over, and see what happens.
Yes.
And I think from a creative point of view, anything that encourages you to move away from the norm, to go into a direction that you wouldn't go into otherwise, I just think is brilliant. You know,
well, that's it. It's the abuse of the software more than anything else.
That's how it should always be.
Yeah, so, and that's definitely there. I mean, I can see how it has developed over time, and they've got different ideas, but they still haven't quite got the knack of making the software transparent so that people can see into what it is that
Absolutely.
they're trying to do. But Ben Jordan is, you can't get better than that, really, as someone to explain something to you. So go and check his video out.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't even talk highly enough about Ben, because I'm ashamed that I forgot his surname. If you want to, go and check out his videos for anything, and he has a view on things which is just so in line with the way I see things that it's
Well, I'm really pleased you two are on it. Well, not only because it would look really silly if it was just me, but your knowledge on this, I've gone from pretty skeptical. Well, I completely changed. I was a little bit skeptical, but I ought to try it out, and then I didn't have time because we had to reset everything. And then I thought, okay, I thought your beginning stance would be your end stance, but it's actually completely changed me to think I really want to try this now, and I think I can use it. Constituent parts, exactly as you said, I can do this already. Oh, hang on a minute, resynthesis. Okay, that's interesting, and being able to do it to better quality.
The create side of things on the create program, I can't think of anything else you can do what it does. I can't think of anything that is commercially available that you can do to the level that it can do. You can do little bits in different bits of software, but to do all of those bits, I can't. I could be wrong, but I can't think of anything.
Wow.
But the main thing that I took away from this is, in terms of, please, they really need to spend a bit of money getting the web and some proper video presentations of what it can do.
Well, you've kind of given them all they need if they just put that clip from you on the front page.
I just think there's a great product in there, despite despite the advertising, which is it's a shame, because what we used to is great, is kind of crap products but great,
but overselling. Absolutely. Okay, thank you, Wagyu. If you happen to be able to IRC me any QQs, because the only QQ I can see is, has Dom ever met anyone that's not been nice to them, which is not really a QQ for today.
It is. Come on.
No. But there's an IRC window open with you, Wagyu, if you can paste any in. Our wonderful friends at Baby Audio are also sponsoring the stream, so check this one out, please, and go and support them if you can. Baby Audio make creative effects plugins designed to add colour and depth to your mixes. They won Plugin of the Year 2021 in Future Music and Computer Music magazine, and they were nominated for the SOS Awards 2 years in a row. Crystalline is an algorithmic reverb plugin inspired by classic 20th century studio reverbs, but offering higher fidelity thanks to 21st century computing power. A reverb plugin with a variety of creative features, such as the ability to tempo sync pre-delay and reverb decay times. You can get 15% off when checking out with the code ST15. Okay.
It's live TV. Keep talking.
Yeah. I thought I'd done a perfect. I don't think we'll actually be live there. Hang on. We're back. That seemed a bit too long for the voiceover, but who knows? Thank you. Thank you very, very much to Baby Audio, and also to iZotope for their continuing sponsorship of the show. Please do support them if you can. They both produce exceptionally good products. I thought I would touch a little bit on the EMOM, which we would have covered last week. Nick would have covered last week. Again, I don't want to repeat myself, but unfortunately Nick's mum is unwell, which is why Nick can't be doing the show. So we're trying the best we can to cover for him. So thank you for your lack of abuse in the chat to me, which is which is kind of cool. The EMOM stuff, let me just check if I can do this. Hold on 1 second. Where are we? Yeah. That's it. That's why. I know what's going on now. I was looking at the wrong window. This is a 1:20 compilation from the EMOM show. And it's just 3 of the artists, I think 3 or 4 of the artists that were on there. It was a great evening. So if you've missed it, catch up on this one, and also go check the whole live stream. The whole live stream is available on the Sonictalk show. It's 4 hours long. You can just skip to the performance bits. Unfortunately, YouTube, if you chop the video down to something, you lose the live chat from it. So we've left it up in its entirety. But here's a clip of 3 of the acts from that night.
Is this thing on?
call that a kick drum? That ain't no kick drum. No. That's no kick drum. That's a kick drum. Thank you to Arturia for copying that, for sponsoring that video and the whole evening, which was really good. Thank you to John Birch, who's Nick's mate, who lives around the corner on his poly end, which was amazing, that first thing with that kind of ceremony style thing going on. And also Dark Carpentry at the end is Martin Swan and Simon Forsyth, who made some amazing stuff coming out. I don't know, modular is your thing, Robin, but there's a clarity and a crispness that comes out of those boxes that doesn't come out of groove boxes. And I think because everything's individual and very punchy and dynamic, and every time I've seen a modular performance, the separation, maybe, I think, or whatever, it just sounds, you can always tell it's just very, very direct and unglued together, whereas normally the idea is to try and glue everything together with a nice compressor on the end, but it really cuts. I don't know if you got to see it, Robin. That's particularly that performance. It's often because you have less than you think. You don't have a whole lot of stuff going on, so you're trying to focus on one oscillator as opposed to a synth with three oscillators detuned to each other. So there's a lot less space being filled, I suppose, by the individual things that you're focusing on. Maybe that gives some of the clarity to things. But I liked it when the kick came in. That was fun.
This is a kick.
That's a kick drum. Yeah, no, that was good fun. It's the way the camera shakes. There was also a moment in my set where I decided to kind of push a big explosion into another section just at the time when Nick said to the engineer, push it at this time, and the whole thing, I just heard this huge laugh going on one side and everything kind of rocking where we both kind of just pushed it. Very, very good. It was an excellent night though, so do please check it out. Absolutely check it out. And if you guys, we've got a couple of minutes left, I just wondered if we could talk Black Friday, for any deals and stuff that you may have picked up on. We touched a little bit on it earlier. Apart from software, Ty, was there anything that you fell for, or were you far too busy working?
No, I tell you what it is. I honestly, I got so sick of it. I think I got so I just got so sick of literally hundreds of, because of course every manufacturer, every software, every interaction you've had with anybody sales wise on Black Friday just completely fills your inbox with everything. And it got to a stage where there was just so much that it was every day there was just hundreds of filling it up, and it got to a stage where it's like day after day after day. I just became completely blind to it. And so I just literally sat there going delete until there were the odd things that slipped through in terms of software. But it was all software. It was all just some of the bigger sample libraries that you're sitting there going, what? You want 800 quid for this sample library, and all of a sudden it's 400 quid, and it's and also there were lots of ridiculous deals where there were like 99 pieces of $99, and suddenly it's $19 or $9 or, and so a few of those. But I have to say, nothing of any significance, no hardware whatsoever, just literally a few bits of software, which isn't like me, but I became so blind to it all because
this is a bit out of hand, isn't it?
It was just so much that I couldn't be bothered.
Robin?
It's one of those things that devalues software a bit, because software only has a very tenuous link to any kind of value most of the time. And then if you suddenly discount it 90% for 1 week of the year, that seems odd. Doesn't really work in their favor, I don't think. For hardware, I was trawling this, trying to find my own, trying to put my own little page of affiliate links together. It's like, please give me some pennies, somebody. But there was 30% off at Dreadbox on a few things, t-shirts mostly, merch, some of their modules. 30% off at Bastille was quite good. Bastille Instruments. So there were a couple of bargains, but there was no real standout thing. It's like, we had a couple of Korg blowouts on Reverb earlier in the year. I mean, they were far better than anything I saw over Black Friday.
Yeah.
Most people had 15% off for a day, but that's kind of your shipping, isn't it? Really, it's sort of free shipping. That's really all you get. That's all you get.
It's true. And a lot I think some of them are still on, till December the 10th or something. It doesn't feel so special. I did pick up Resolume at half price, which is the video software, which is expensive, and I've always wanted it, and 50% off I kind of noticed they did this last year, so I've been waiting in case they did it again, and it makes it's an expensive bit of kit, but it's really good, and it's kind of it worth it, I think, especially at half price. So, but yeah, I agree with you. Hardware wise, there was very little about, and what there wasn't really rocking the boat that much. So, well, that's a bit depressing. Absolutely nothing.
It is. Yeah.
Oh. On that high note,
bye everyone.
Jim Galoo picked up V Collection 9 in the end for £128. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
I'd
that's
say
good.
V Collection for 128 quid. That's
Is that Resolume thing still going? Because I've always been. That's the VJ software, yeah.
It is, yeah.
So I've always been an Archaeos fan, and I've constantly looked at Resolume going, oh, well, it looks really nice, but both of them are quite expensive.
They're expensive. There's another one called Synesthesia, which is cheaper, which is what I've been using till now. I mean, it's basically you put the audio in and it will trigger stuff to audio, and it's good, but it isn't as good as Resolume or anything like that. So I don't know if the offer's still there. I'm sure if you pop them an email and say, look, I want to use this on my stream, can you extend that deal?
Oh, I've tried.
You're a man.
I've tried all sorts of manipulations through there.
It is good. There was a question, Sonic Andy. I got asking which version of Resolume. I got there's two. There's Avenue and Arcade, I think. One of them, the expensive one, allows you to do multiple video walls of TVs, which is not the one I got. I got the cheap one, which basically, I don't have walls of TVs and stuff, so I just wanted the one that would work like that, and I'm still trying to get my head around it. But I'm pleased. It does a lot more than I wanted. But it's ironic that the only deal is it's music related, but not that much. It's not music software. It's more video related. Okay, well, I think we've hit the spot with 5:05. What are you up to? Any streaming later, Robin? Anything to come? What are we promoting or doing apart from this fabulous new module?
Yeah, well, talking about Christmas, I'm going to see Yippee-Ki-Yay tonight at the Norwich Playhouse, which is a one-man, I think, straight from Edinburgh type show of a bloke who does the entire Die Hard movie in like half an hour or something by himself on stage. So that's going to be excellent. It'll be a man in a vest and explosions, I hope. So that's exciting.
Great.
that should get me in the Christmas mood. With a bit
man in a vest and explosions. Wow.
Yeah. Can't beat it.
Next stream coming up?
No, they're mostly random, so I've got no plans at the moment. I might squeeze in something before Christmas. You never know your luck.
Okay, well, if you're not already a follower of Robin, Molten Music Technology, isn't it? If you can,
that's
Google
right.
That
Either
one.
of those
there's a
will
link
work.
below. Cool,
yeah.
Absolutely. And Ty, he's got a day off. Thank you so much again for joining us. Is countdown to Christmas?
Yeah,
getting your Santa hat on.
Yeah, that's
social life.
All of the above.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic! Absolutely fantastic.
Going to see, the film Nativity.
Mm.
They're doing apparently in Birmingham. There's a stage show of it. So.
Fantastic!
Going to go and see that. Going to go and see lots of Christmas lights. Going to do lots of family Christmassy things. So really, really, really looking forward to it.
Brilliant. Yeah, we love Nativity in this house. There is, by the same people, a film, I believe, coming out for this Christmas because they asked for a release for Stay Another Day. to stick in it. So, and it's not a nativity one, but it's by the same people, and it sounds very much along similar lines with more of a budget. Not offhand, I'd have to. They asked ages ago, and I got really excited because I thought it was Nativity 4, and I said to Lynn, sorry,
Nativity 5 is already 4.
Oh well, there you go. So, but it's not.
Can I point out?
You know more about...
it's only that when you did the Mr. Wiggly show last Christmas, and one of the questions was about nativity, and I watched this and I was screaming because you were there. We weren't logged in, but I was just watching it, and you said, about there's 3 films, with me going, no, there's 4. There's 4 nativity films.
Finally,
this is what happens.
You've lived with that for an entire year.
And I've now been able to tell you.
Brilliant.
This is what happens when you have a daughter who absolutely loves the film.
Oh, they're so good. They're so good.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, 1 is good, 2 is good, 3 is poor, 4 is. But 1 and 2 are fantastic. But to a 12-year-old child, they're all fantastic.
I think we haven't seen 4, which is why the confusion has arrived. Which will be great if we haven't, because we can watch it this year.
There is absolutely, it's better than 3. Yeah. I don't
yes.
Martin
Clunes,
but...
well, indeed. I think I've missed a few questions, so thank you for those. They do go into a big pile, and they can be picked up next week when hopefully Nick will be back. Again, thank you to everyone who's been kind in the chat and everyone who's watching this. Big love to Nick and his family. Absolutely. And his wife, and especially his mum. Yeah. And hopefully we've done a reasonable job filling in, and we've done him justice. So hopefully he'll be back next week. Outside of that,
but come back, Nick, please.
Yeah, it's not the same.
No disrespect, no disrespect to Tom, to Dom, but come on.
Yeah, he needs to be back in control. Yeah, so cool.
Sorry, Dom.
Thank you. Thanks, Ty. I'll be back later streaming if you want to follow me. Just search Mr. Wiggly or at Mr.Wiggly. I think Wagu's just popped a link up into the chat. I'll be talking about depression actually, which is a nice tie into the end of the upbeat way we finish this stream. In a more serious show tonight, but I do a Sunday live stream as well, if you're not aware of it. So for that's a bit more light and happy. So check that out. We will be here next week in one form or another, as with our Sonicstate hats on. And thank you very, very much indeed. We will, I guess, wave goodbye and play the outro. Thanks, everybody.
Can we just say thanks for doing such a great job?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, nice one, mate. Well done.
Yeah, you did really well. Well done.
Thank you.